So we're working on a 2005 Chevrolet Colorado with the 4-cylinder engine, doing a timing chain replacement on it. And I just wanted to point out a few things that I have learned or have seen with this going on so far. As you can tell, I've already started putting in the new intake sprocket. I've already put in the new guide up top and the guides in the bottom. The chain is kind of just hanging loose at the moment. The engine is sitting at top dead center, and these camshafts on the back of them, you see there's that flat spot. Those have to be lined up, to be flat across, so you would get a straight bar, get across on them. My little contraption with the 2 wrenches here has been sitting for a few days, so we're going to double check and make sure that those camshafts are sitting flat, because we ordered a new part to go on this that did not come with the timing chain kit, and that is this actuator that goes on the exhaust cam. Some call it a VVT sprocket, actuator, phaser, and this part is difficult to get for this truck. And in fact, doesn't matter if you go on Rock Auto or other websites trying to obtain this part, they all say obsolete, discontinued, not available, not in stock. So this sprocket for the exhaust cam is the problem. So I did order one for a 2006 Chevy Colorado 4-cylinder. It had the same engine designation, the same descriptions and everything. So we're going to do a side-by-side comparison with the old one and the new one in a minute, just to kind of go over that. I don't know if it'll work. A lot of people online didn't know if it would work, and I've seen questions about, hey, has anybody done this? So maybe this video might help show the differences in the new part and the old part, and we'll try a test fit and see if it works, and I'll show you along the way what I see. I'll be as descriptive as I can. With the old timing chain, I did notice that this guide on the driver's side of the motor was eaten up pretty good. The plastic inserts right here, these plastic inserts were actually broken off and down in the oil pan. And I also had a lot of metal debris in the oil pan, which was this actual metal part of the guide itself was getting chewed up by the chain and dumping metal debris inside. I also noticed that right there, the old chain was rubbing against the block itself, because the tensioner that goes up against this side itself was broken. So it was not actuating, it was just stuck. So I believe the chain was just flopping around, hitting the block a little bit right there. The guide on top, my old one, did not have this plastic piece on it anymore. It was broken off and down in the oil pan as well, and you had a lot of metal shards coming off the bottom of this bracket as the chain was just slapping against it, which I have another video for that. This project, as far as difficulty goes, I would probably rate it an 8 out of 10 because of all the tools you need, all the time invested in getting out the many bolts. There's a lot of bolts in this project, from underneath to up top to the intake. You're just gonna have a pile of bolts, and just getting all of them out is gonna take you a while. So this is a time-consuming project, a very poor design for a motor, but it is what it is. So I'm going to show you the old guides and how they were tore up. So this one is the one that's mounted on the driver's side. You got the 2 bolts that hold it in. As you see, the guides were broke off. Those were the plastic chunks in the bottom of the oil pan, and you see the line and the grinding that was going on right there, causing metal debris in the oil itself. So that was no good. The plastic guide on the passenger side, where the tensioner goes here at the bottom, it actually held in place. It was still complete, but you can tell the chain was cutting the groove out, and it probably wouldn't have been too much longer before that one was broke out. But that top guide, as you see, the plastic piece that was supposed to be up there was gone, and it had been cutting a groove in the top of it. So that is a lot of the noise, the slapping and banging around that you would hear when you first cranked it up and let it run. Now this is the intake cam sprocket. The sprocket itself is okay. It shows a little bit of wear on the teeth, but not much. When you order a new kit, you get the intake sprocket, you'll get that guide, you'll get these two guides, you'll get a new chain, and you get a new tensioner. But when it says complete timing chain kit, it's not a complete kit because you do not get the exhaust cam phaser with it because it's discontinued. So I will show you the brand that I'm using, and so far it looks like it mounts up pretty good. Haven't had any problems with bolt holes or anything like that. So this Mocha brand, I believe it's called, is the brand that I'm using. And I was going to see if it gave you a part number right there. So that was for this truck, and so far everything about it has lined up pretty good. I did buy new gaskets for everything I'm taking apart, new serpentine belt, and water pump, valve cover gasket, intake and stuff, and a new belt tensioner. Can't talk today. So while we're here, might as well do preventative maintenance since this is such a in-depth job for what it is. I believe one of the other things I'm still waiting to come in is the oil pump that mounts to the front cover right here. I'm not taking this one off yet until I have the new one to make sure it's the same. Reason why I want to replace it is because of all the metal debris that came off of the guides. You don't know how much gets jammed up in there. You can flush it all you want. It also looks like there's some wear going on around the sprocket for the crank. So it's possible that there may be some damage with that, but since we're here and it's so difficult to get to, we're going to replace that oil pump as well. So let me go ahead and show you the part that I bought for the exhaust cam phaser, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison so everybody knows what it looks like. This is the old exhaust cam phaser, still says Delphi on it. That Delphi word is needed when doing the aligning of the sprocket with the cylinder head itself. So when you read the instructions on how to do all that, they're always like, yeah, you gotta put this parallel with the cylinder head. So we're not gonna have that with the new sprocket. Now this designation right here on the old sprocket is your timing mark. And of course, this is the bolt and the tool that I used to get that bolt out. So when I ordered the new one, I ordered a one for the 2006 Chevrolet Colorado inline 4-cylinder. That's the Dorman part number. Online it all says it fits a 2006, but there isn't one for a 2005. So this is the one that came with it, the new Dorman part. It came with the new bolt. Bolt comparison. The bolts look identical. So this came with the new bolt, and the tool for the new is the same. So at least that is correct. The bolt and the tool will be the same for mounting the phaser. So that's the old bolt. We'll keep it separate. Sprocket wise, the motor was extremely dirty. That's the alignment mark for the camshaft to put it in. That goes over the top, and that's another hole there I don't know for. But that's the old phaser. This is the new phaser. As you can see, it's an updated design, they say. There is a difference in how the sprocket looks. From physically looking at it right here, it looks to be the same size. Look over here, you can tell there is a difference in the design on the back. And what we're looking at is, of course, this plate here is a lot thicker than this, but also you'll notice that the camshaft alignment right there is on the opposite sides. I don't think that's going to matter because I'll show you why. When you look at the exhaust cam up top here, you got those 3 marks. So I don't think it matters which side that alignment mark is on, because you can use one side or the other. Also, the ring that goes around on the new cam is smaller than the old ones, but it looks like it will still give you the spacing to go around this cam end right here. So I do believe it is correct looking at it like that. As you see, this is the part that would actually sit against the cam. This one is just a wider rim that would sit on the cam. Recessed, it looks to be the same as far as the recess goes, from inside here to inside there. I don't know if we'll be able to do it with the plastic on top, but we're going to take this one and just set it on top and see if the alignment of the teeth is the same and the diameter is the same. And honestly, let me get it lined up here. It looks to be identical. Yeah. I'm sorry, the camera angle I'm going to hold it to is different, but from looking around this cam to the old one, the sprocket appears to be the same. So as far as physical appearance, it looks like it will work. I haven't taken it out of the bag yet in case it didn't, but we're gonna just do a test fit. We're not gonna put the chain on it yet. We'll go ahead and open this bag up and try to slide it onto the cam in the truck and see if it will line up to where the alignment mark is. Now, looking at this old manufactured plastic, there is a notch in this ring on the side, and it's right there. So it does have a notch for the alignment on it. So if we set that one up like that, and this notch comparably to the same, just for reference at the moment. So that corner will be sticking up. If you see here, this raised area is the same as this one. Then you have a notch, you have that notch, then another raised area that goes around right there, which is on the old one right here. And then you have a notch, which is right there. And then another knob sticking out right here. This knob sticks out, which is the same as that one. As you come around, you hit another raised notch, which is right there on this one. And then a flat area that comes back to here. So it looks like these areas, and I think this is for the sensor that is mounted in the front of the block that sense where it's at. This looks like it's the same as this. If we take a top comparison just to try to see the width of it, we'll try to line it up. There it goes. Keep spinning. And I think that's it right there. So as you can see, all the little, well, I don't have it set up yet. I'm going backwards, so you probably won't get it. So here, it looks to be the same. And the sensor I'm talking about that this rides around is up here in the front of this casing for And I'm talking about that sensor right there. This is a camshaft positioning sensor, which senses the cam in there, but this is also another sensor. I guess it's meant that those nodules that ride around on the sprocket pass over this, and it senses where they are. So we need to check to make sure that the depth wise from here to here is the same, which so far looks like it is. Because when you put these side by side, you have to forgive my thing here. The depth wise of them, they are almost identical. So I do not see why this will not fit in there the same as that one. So for side by side comparison, it looks like it will work. I'm going to open this up and do a dry fit on the truck without mounting a chain and see if it will line up on the camshaft with the timing mark where it's supposed to be at. So that's the next step. So it does fit in there. Feels like it went straight on. So that timing mark looks to be in the right area. That is the sensor that follows this pattern here. So we'll take the old one. To make sure it mounted right, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of those nodules. Let's see if I can get this to stay there. Probably won't because the chain's in the way. Where's the timing? Where's that mark at on here? I need better light. It's gotta be this way. What are you doing? So there it is. On the top there. See that little square box with the line. So it would mount in there like that. Timing mark wise, it looks to be the same. These nodules look to be the same. So at this moment, I do not see a reason why the one for the 2006 Chevy Colorado will not work in the 2005. So if the new one slides on, it lines up, it sits in the same position, the timing mark is the same. So I'm gonna roll with it. I believe it'll work. So I'll get this timing chain set up and everything put together. This chain itself has these markings every 7th link. So some are black, mine are gold. Doesn't matter. But I think we're good to go with this Dorman part here. So once again, I'll show you this part number for the 2005 Chevrolet Colorado 4-cylinder, the Dorman 918199. So we're in the center there, here, center of it on that one. Center of that one. So I think we're good. Flat across there. We are flat across that cam. And we're flat across that cam. So I think that's right. Comparison of the tensioners, this is the new one, that's the old one. Make sure that it will line up. It looks exactly the same. This one is broken. You see the top is missing off of that. And the guide rail has been chewed up and it's missing on that side. So it would have been on there like that. The new one you can see has got the plastic on the back to hold it. You got both sides of the guide rail. So this is why the chain was rubbing against the block, because the guide was broken on it. I thought you were supposed to be able to push this down, but it don't budge. And you should be able to squeeze it down. It's just stuck there. So I think we're good to put it on. Got the tensioner in and mounted. The crank is on top dead center. We can get our alignment mark in the middle there. It's riding up the center of the guide. We are in the center of the mark still right there. Still in the center of the mark on that one. Make sure nothing's in a stupid bind. When you're putting on your tensioner, just make sure that these grooves go around this guide. So the one on the back side against the block, make sure that the guide is in there in the center of that. So you don't get the guide stuck against the block. And then this be off. So looks like we are good. I don't see anything standing out. So we could probably pull the pin on the tensioner. We'll give the motor some revolutions and see if it lines back up. If not, then we start over. So we're taking the wrenches and the flat bar out, and the chain, now that the wrenches are out, the chain has tightened up, so you don't have that slack in there. So just kind of doing a feel around, make sure everything is lined up before I do any spinning. In fact, I may put a little bit of engine assembly lube on these guides before I do any spinning to make sure I don't tear them up any. You know, the chain's got a little bit of oil on it. You know, you would have oil in here covering this stuff. But since it's all new and dry, I don't want to mess anything up. So we got tension there, so you want to spin around. We'll see. I did add some engine assembly lube to that chain before I spun it. It did seem like it was 7 full spins before it lined back up. We are back on top dead center with number 1, and the crank is in the correct position. Alignment mark is correct. Alignment mark is correct, and hopefully that one is too. We'll drop the phone in the bucket down there. Good. So it does look like we are back in position. So I believe that is correct. So I'll torque everything down, get it dialed in the way it's supposed to be, and go from there. But definitely a lot better than it was before, and I don't know if I've shown that video or not. It will loosen up as you're spinning the motor. You will see it loosen up because of the springs in the cams pushing back pressure on it. So don't worry about that, because the motor's always going to have forward pressure on it as it spins. So, and when it does loosen up, it's like just half a link. So, but we feel pretty good so far. I like it. I think we're right. I still gotta fix that stupid screw that broke. That was that 7mm in the front of the daggone plate, cover plate. It was a pain in the butt. But everything came back around. to where it's supposed to be. So I think we're good.